Hey guys, I'm going to try to get you set up on this little stand here. I made for this video. I'm trying to do something to improve the quality of the videos. Long way to go on that end. Anyway, I just need 30 seconds here. 30 seconds hopefully is enough to get you to listen to me long enough. One, to trigger this algorithm and at least counting this as a view. So that's my ulterior motive in doing this video. But the topic of the video is dual diagnosis and dual disorders in treatment, and specifically how alcohol affects those disorders. We're just going to do a general overview today of how alcohol and the mood disorders or how they're affected by alcohol use. So let's get on into it and talk about it a little bit, and maybe up in some other upcoming videos. If you're interested, we'll do a more in-depth description of some of these disorders and the role that alcohol and drugs, cocaine, methamphetamine, other drugs play in our recovery or havoc in our recovery. So let's talk about mood disorders. The first one that comes to mind and the most generally widely diagnosed or the most common folks know about is depression. Well, depression, we all have mood swings and short bouts of where we ups and downs, don't feel good. But that's not clinical depression. Clinical depression has a set of criteria according to the DSM-5 where certain things have to occur over a period of time. Now, without pulling out a DSM-5 and putting the criteria on the screen, I'll just go over a couple of them so that you can understand how your therapist or your doctor or whatever clinician you're dealing with makes this diagnosis. One of the first things is, has this disorder, has this symptom lasted long enough over a 2-week period where it significantly interferes with you doing things you normally would do? You don't get out of bed, you don't want to eat, you just can't get out of cane habits, and no matter what you do, you just can't do anything any different at that time. So, and depending, by the way, on how many of these symptoms you exhibit and the onset of the disorder, those things are determinants in the severity of the depression. But first of all, have you been unable to do things? You just got the cane habits and don't want to get up, don't want to socialize with the friends you used to, don't want to eat, don't want to bathe. You don't want to do shit. You just don't want to do, and that again could have fit any one of us on any given time. But the difference between just a dip in mood and a continuum of this disorder is, again, by the DSM-5, as this symptom persisted 2 weeks or more. So that's one of the things. Have you lost interest in things that used to be important to you that you would do? So withdrawal from others, just loss of interest in normal activities, daily living activities. Another one that's a symptom that most, it's not uncommon. Uh, suicidal ideation. Be better off dead. I wish I was dead. Now, that is never to be taken lightly. But studies suggest that most people that talk about suicide are not going to do it. But nonetheless, it's a cry for help, and again, not to minimize any of these any suicide displays or allegations or claims of suicidal ideation from a client. But those things are symptoms that if they persist over that period of time, now we're no longer just going through this little mood swing for today, or this week or a couple of days. Now it's progressing out along this line or continuum. And again, depending on how long it lasts, and how at the age of onset when it occurred. Did this happen did it start when you were 10 years old? Did it start when you were 35? When did it start? And how long has it lasted? So the age of onset is a big factor in determining the severity of depression. Now, let's just talk about alcohol in terms of how it affects mood. Alcohol is one of those drugs that could be an either-or drug. What I mean, well, you could, like in my other video, you could be sitting on a fence. If I drink alcohol and I'm in a happy mood and I celebrate, more than likely I'm going to have an outcome with the alcohol that's going to exacerbate that feeling. Now, if I'm doing the tear in my beer thing and I'm crying over, losing Susie or whatever it is I'm drinking over, well, that's going to promote that feeling that's associated with the thought. And so alcohol, when you are dealing with clinical depression, really exacerbates the mood disorder. There are chemicals in your brain, norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, and about five, six of them. I'm not a biologist, and I don't even understand about electronics to tell you how the firing mechanism in the brain works, but I equate it to a spark plug. When you ingest drugs or alcohol into your system and you're on, say, already a serotonin reuptake inhibitor or some other antidepressant that your doctor's giving you, then what you're doing is you're just exacerbating, and it's like putting gunk on a spark plug. That's the only way I know how to describe it. And it impedes and the firing between the neurotransmitters in your brain, or synaptic nerves, I believe that's what they're called. And again, alcohol being one of those drugs that when you use it, it's an either-or thing depending on where your mood's at the time. You happy, you drink, most of the time you're happy. It gives you the expected outcome because it releases social anxiety and it gives us a false sense of, bulletproofness. That's the word I'm looking for. But using alcohol with a treatment or therapy that's prescribed by a doctor for depression is only going to exacerbate the depression. So that's one thing to know. and it's critical. Another thing I want to talk about with newcomers in treatment, and this is mostly for clinicians, and especially young clinicians. I reckon most seasoned clinicians know this. Approximately 60% of the dual diagnoses that clients have are undetected during treatment. Well, why is that? Well, first of all, when you're going to diagnose a mental disorder like depression or bipolar or any other thing, well, if you're in treatment, that compounds the issue and causes more complexity, because the first thing we want to rule out is is it alcohol or drug related, because drugs tend to take you up and take you down. So at least 30 days without alcohol or drugs before you may be considered for an evaluation for depression by a mental health professional if they know you're in treatment. Now, and a myriad of other reasons, referrals to the mental health system, depending on your means, okay? Depending on your means and your whereabouts in the country, there's a really good chance that your symptoms of depression or anxiety disorder or whatever else you're suffering from that may have been there before the alcohol or the drug anyway. The likelihood of getting that treated and diagnosed or caught by a clinician very early on is, I don't want to call it nominal, but it ain't much more than that in my opinion. And again, this is not just my opinion. These are studies that I read years ago. They're well-documented studies. You go on the internet and look them up. I'm not trying to convince you of anything I'm saying here. I encourage you, in fact, to do your own due diligence and check it out yourself, because I could be lying. I mean, when I get lost in there in the thought, I might say something there to throw you off. Who knows? It's up to you. It's your responsibility to check it. And it's my responsibility as best I can to bring to you accurate information. So you have to sort that out. But I do encourage you to do your own research on that. So let's talk about cocaine. Why cocaine? Well, alcohol, cocaine, those, well, it's coming more and more prevalent now that we're having fentanyl and other drugs enter into the region in the United States where I'm from, southeast United States area of Alabama and that area of the world. It's becoming more and more prevalent. But cocaine seems to be one of the up there drugs in the top 3 or 5 that people come into treatment looking for some kind of intervention or forced into some kind of intervention. So let's talk about cocaine. So cocaine dependence and use of cocaine are a couple different things, and now the DSM-5 describe this as a use disorder. They don't call it dependence anymore. Again, because I'm retired, I really don't care what they call it. I'm just giving you some information for your education that hopefully might help you to understand a little better where you're at and what's going on with you. And I'll be about 5 more minutes here, Joe. I'm getting ready to go to another little town. We're going to do some shopping today. But I wanted to get this video out. So, the cocaine thing. What is it about cocaine that makes it so addictive? What is it? Well, again, If you look at the baseline for your dopamine levels, because what cocaine does is jacks up the dopamine levels. The baseline for your dopamine when you ingest cocaine goes up about 2.5% of what it was. It increases it to the point that your body can't produce this. I mean, your body can't do it. It can't let that much dopamine out on its own without some kind of, it's an external stimuli, is another way to put it, that causes you to get that jizzy up, excited feeling and want to piss on yourself and whatever else you do that cocaine will cause you to do. So the dopamine release, that is a big problem when you're coming into treatment, and in terms especially if there's a co-occurring disorder, because using cocaine when you've already either one, not been diagnosed with having a mental disorder, or have been diagnosed with having a mental disorder prior to your entering treatment. Again, those are two different scenarios, but both of them, the outcome in terms of using the cocaine, if you're on psychotropic drugs or some kind of therapy for that, or if you haven't been diagnosed at this time for that. The dopamine jumps to the neurotransmitters in our brain up to the point that we might get depressed for a while, at least for 8 or 10 minutes, depending on how the cocaine, how good it is. But when we crash, guess what? The crash is deeper than it was when we before we initially used. So the highs get higher and the lows get lower. So there we have a cyclical kind of thing going on when you're using cocaine. And again, cocaine interferes with your brain dissolving and using the drug that your doctor may have given you for, let's just say, depression in this case. Again, it's like the gunk on a spark plug. It's gonna impede the firing to your neurotransmitters, which is in turn kind of like a car won't crank if plug wires plugged up, pulled off or dirty or gunked up or whatever. That's about as far as I know about mechanics. But I do understand that that's what would happen. So we have we have more than ample reason to be more mindful in our recovery as a client and as a clinician of how substance plays a role in a dual disorder while we're in treatment, either in maintaining a dual disorder or diagnosing a dual disorder. That is basically the gist of this video at this time. Later, we may go into more detail about specific DSM-5 criteria. Again, you have to meet certain criteria according to DSM-5 in order to be diagnosed or billed through the ICD-9 by your doctor. I think it's the 9 now. I'm not sure what they're using anymore for treatment of depression through the insurance company, if you're lucky enough to have insurance. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. It helps the algorithm. It costs nothing to subscribe, and it helps my channel grow. I want to tell you now, I just got my first milestone. I have, 10. According to Video IQ, I have 10 subscribers. Well, the YouTube analytics says I have 12, but nonetheless, I got my little award for the 10. And building a YouTube channel is quite a lot of work, especially if you don't have I guess, a fan base to start. And the content has to be something interesting that will appeal to an audience. And admittedly, this kind of content only will appeal to those who need it or those who want to learn from it. So please like and subscribe and share. Tell your friends. It'll help the channel grow, and it'll help me to feel motivated to continue to do more videos. So thank you, folks, and have a good day. I'm going to get off of here and go to Sendanga and get some bacon now.